Hey, welcome everybody. This is HYPERIZED episode 3. I can't believe they haven't canceled me yet. Episode 3, we made it. And today I've got a good treat. This is someone who I have really come to. I love his work. He is a big inspiration for me and many. Uh, I know him as Josh. You might know him as Wentzillah. Josh Wentworth. Hey, please say
Hey
hello to
man,
everybody. Yeah,
how's it going? Or Zilla. I mean, I have so
Zilla,
many
whatever.
names.
Yeah, you know.
Or Punk. No, no, it's just I'll go by anything. Hey, what's up? I appreciate having me on, man. It's crazy. I'm glad that I'm in like the first stretch of your videos because I don't see it slowing down. I see it getting pretty big, man. So, and we already talked about some future stuff too. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Well, thank you very much for that. And this is a big treat for me because, like I said, my focus is to try to bring on the people who I think are the biggest influences in the community that I can possibly get to. And so, when I ever reached out to you and you got right back to me, I was really thrilled because the first couple of people I've interviewed have all referenced you as a major influence in
oh
their work.
wow,
So, I think you have a very long-reaching influence across this hobby. So pleasure's
hey,
mine. So, yeah,
it's crazy to hear because I kind of feel like I don't know what I'm doing half the time. So
right.
that's great.
That's
So,
probably why your work is so good because you kind of let it just flow a little bit, right? So,
I guess I don't know. I was up the other night. My nephew had his birthday on Saturday. I was painting a He wanted a blue Tyrannosaurus Rex, so had it all painted. And then I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna restart. So I painted it all black and restarted. And it was like midnight. And yeah, I got done about 3:30. It was pretty fun.
well,
That's
it's
how it
funny.
works, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's funny you should say that because, like I said, the first two guests I've had on, we each talked about how, you know, perfection is unachievable, but pursuing perfection is kind of where we all come from. And it sounds like you did the same thing where you started out on a project, it wasn't going the right way. You said, nope, let's do this again. And you repainted the whole thing, right?
Unfortunately, yes, it happens
Yeah,
a
right.
lot.
Yeah, it does, man. I know, I know. Or just you get to the very last thing and the last brush stroke, and you're like, I can't believe I just did that. Or you get to a point where it done, and then you get this crazy idea, and then you ruin it in 5 seconds, right? Like we've all
Yep.
done that. We've had to start over from square one,
Yep.
right?
Oh,
So
this
yeah.
clear coat will look nice.
Yeah,
Not always.
exactly. Right, exactly.
Everything
So
starts to bubble, and you're like, ah.
oh, I can't tell you. So I just had that happen where I decided to try to put a coat of varnish on something, and I used some adhesive tape that they use for model race cars, like pinstriping tape. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I'll just put a coat of varnish over this with a roller to try to almost make it look like a floor, thinking that it would be fine. Well, the tape bubbled, and I had to start all over again. The whole project was scrapped. And I'm like, if all I had to do was just reach for the Tamiya clear coat spray, and it would have been fine. But I had to try it, and
Yep.
screwed the
No,
whole thing up.
I used to do like back in the day, like before, like while I was collecting, before I got into like customizing figures, we were doing like props and stuff and suit acting. So we're talking like really
Yeah.
expensive helmets and things like that. And one wrong clear coat and you have to be wet sanding and just it's crazy, man.
Oh,
It's
it's terrible.
especially when you have an event in like 24 hours, stuff like that.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So was your prop making career, was that part of one of your influences as how you arrived into the customizing hobby?
I,
Or how
I
did you go
think
from
so.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was really into collecting and I wanted everything, not just figures, but everything. So for my age group, like it was Power Rangers is a huge thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
like when we were coming up, like the 95, 93 to 95. And that was like right when we were kids. And I had the opportunity to do suit acting and cosplaying, and I did most of my own. I didn't sell. I sold a lot of like morphers and things, but as far as like all the props, I like wore most of the stuff and then sold it. So I didn't really have like a store or anything like that. But for morphers, I would make a lot of customs for that. But
Right.
when you do so many and you deal with so many people, it's kind of like, well, I just want to do it for my friends now. So that's kind of where I'm at with like customs and things.
Right.
Like
Right.
I really don't like the whole commission side of it. So, but that's just me. I mean, a lot of people do great with it, and I depend on a lot of those people. So, I mean, well, for instance, like he does so many buildings for my world, like that I just can't create. I don't want to create or try to do what he does. So it's nice to have him where he can just send me buildings. I'm like, oh, this is great, man.
Right, exactly.
I make a whole video about it being a bike garage, and he's like, "That's not a bike garage, dude." And I was like, "I thought in the message you told me."
Right. Well, it is now, right? It is now. Yeah.
Like I
But
made one of the videos. I was like, "Bike garage, not bike garage," from Timbo Toys. Like, so.
Well, it's funny because you just mentioned something, and I think I just made a connection in my mind. And one of the things that I find so interesting about your work is your incredible color palette. And it
Thanks,
is, I think it's really unconventional in the sci-fi world because you bring in, well, maybe not, but there's so many bright, interesting colors, and the way that you bring in sort of non-traditional sci-fi elements into the sci-fi world is so cool. But you just mentioned the Power Rangers, and of course they were very colorful with pinks and yellows and blues. So did you draw inspiration with your color palette from the Power Rangers, your Power Rangers days?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's like a cyberpunk / post-apocalyptic thing is what I try to, obviously. But yeah, I think, there's definitely, I have Rangers in the world. So, it's definitely probably part of it. And Rexy is a huge, I was a Red Ranger a lot. And as you know, like a lot of my logos are Rexy involved, like Tyrant. I know a lot of people think Zilla and Godzilla, but that's not why I have the name. So I'm not even really a big fan of God. I like Godzilla, but I'm not. Like, I love dinosaurs way more, man.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, Zilla was just a name that we made up in high school, and everyone, like, your name would be Paul Zilla. Like, that's just how it was. And then they just took my last name instead of my first name. So I just went with that since high school. It's been like 20-some years.
Well,
so,
it's really catchy, and the logo just kind of suits the whole vibe of your channel and what you do.
It works. It's very confusing though. If you're looking at it from the outside, you're like, that's not a Zilla, that's a Tyrannosaurus. But yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it all kind of just fits in somehow.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yeah, so one of the things when I look at all your work, and for those of you who have never seen your work, I highly recommend checking out on Instagram or on YouTube. You got to check out his work because the color palette, and not only the color palette, but the subject material that you do, like the dinosaurs that you've done, blow my mind. They just blow my mind the way they're so technicolor, and you bring in like neon elements, but then you also sort of take it to another place. So you have these incredible color palettes, and then you sort of adorn each creature or vehicle in ways that I can't even imagine, like the way you kind of make them into rideable things. It's almost like you have like this sort of really cool I don't even know how to describe it. But you take it and you just sort of turn it into more of an art piece that can display other figures upon it, not just the piece itself, right?
You're probably talking a lot about the AT-AT.
The AT-AT, right, and like all those things. But do you have a piece next to you that has those colors and all those different types of things?
Next to me, I can grab something.
No problem, man. Yeah.
All right. Let me
see it.
Stop the cam so you don't have to see me get up and do all that stuff.
Okay. You got it. So one of the things that I love about his work that we're going to see is he really pushes creativity far beyond just the piece itself. He sort of takes that idea, like the initial piece, and then sort of goes in 180 degrees of the initial idea.
I am working on a Batmobile, but it's not very colorful. But I haven't finished this yet.
Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that
clone tank that I was working on.
So that is just awesome.
It's going to be for the Bubblegum crew, which is part of the AT-AT group too. So
that's what I'm talking about. That color palette is just wild, and somehow it works. Yeah. It just looks awesome, man.
I don't know if it looks better like that. But
and then you also take the figures that go with that and sort of color match them to some degree too, as from what
Yeah,
I've seen. Yeah.
yeah, I do try. I try to do that. It's sometimes doesn't work out great, but and
Right.
then
Right.
I have Rexy right here too. This is like the mascot of Amrex Spot. So he also has the robotic arm.
Yes.
So, but,
That is so sick.
but yeah,
That
it's
is
just
so
like
great.
Colossus, Rexy, and they're not crazy articulated, but they take up a lot of space, and they look. I think they look more to scale than some of the Hammond stuff, which I'm a huge fan of. But
Oh yeah.
I just feel like
Yeah.
this is more to scale to me in my head.
Look at that
So
thing. That is
yeah, he's
enormous.
so big. Yeah, his tail's
Yeah.
trying to get beat up. You can actually see the original color. But yeah, the I had a friend give it to me, and he was like, "It doesn't have an arm." I was like, "Oh, that's perfect. Thank you."
That's really cool. That's
And it
really cool.
happened to be like on my avatar, he has a robotic right arm, so now so does the mascot.
Right.
It
Exactly.
kind of worked, and yeah, just make sure to kind of make sure that whenever my guy is in a different, my avatar is in a different suit, like this is his like space suit, but he has like the metal arm still.
Hmm.
So I just
Yeah,
got
look
to
at that.
take the head off and pop the head on him, and there we go. I think some of the wires coming out, but yeah, it's a wired cape, but I always had to fix things up all the time. So
So, and like now in your world that you're creating, um, is it primarily, is it like your own universe, or is it taking place in the Star Wars universe or the Power Ranger universe, or is it just like an amalgamation of everything?
I think it's just like you said, just everything mixed together. I mean, obviously, I think world makers and the trade route and all those guys, I think we're all kind of in this same sphere of
Yeah.
some type of
Right.
galaxy or something, but we all have like portals, so I can get anything. So I could have like in my world, I can have any character from anything because they just show up in the portal, which is called the shove. So they just get pushed through and they come popping out the portal.
That's
So
awesome.
I think that you can have that makes it unlimited for me, obviously, as a creator. So I can do anything I want. So it's kind of
Right.
nice. And then as they come in, maybe they might run a group or they might be added to a group, stuff like that. So,
Well,
but
I've seen so many of your figures, and they're so unique and different, and yet somehow they all kind of tie in together just with the colors that you use, and so there's a uniformity to them, but it's different than any other thing I've ever seen, which is one of the
thank
things that
you.
I really love about your work.
Well, and I like stuff that is like I like the First Order. That brought me back to Star Wars. I know a lot of people are like, no, I love First Order. I think Kylo Ren was a cool character
Yep.
as Kylo, so I want to make him cooler as Ben when he's here. So, but he's the mayor of Amrak Spot, so he's the mayor. But I also like Shore Troopers. So how do you get Shore Troopers, Mandalorians, and First Order all together? Well, I just did it. It didn't. It probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but that's just those are my top like three type of soldiers, I guess you would say, or
Right.
group
Right.
because they're so available, and you customize them for days too. So, and I like, you know,
Yeah, no, it's funny you should say that because I was just talking to the first two interviews. They both said that one of the biggest inspirations that got them into customizing and why they continue is because of the availability of things like first order troopers. So I think you're
mm-hmm.
right. I think as a customizer, you sort of take what's given, right? Like there's whatever is available is what we use as a medium, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
the first order, you're right. The figures are cheap, uh, and they're like basically white blank canvases, so you can do anything you want, right? Like that's
Yeah,
kind of the fun of it. I
yeah.
agree. I use them a lot as well, and I'm kind of fascinated by that post Return of the Jedi era as well, where those first order troopers are living and doing their thing. And so you take inspiration? I know that like the first order is kind of like where you sort of operate out of. Are there other figures or figure lines that you like to use as well that you can find cheap that kind of work well with the first order troopers and things like that?
I would say I like anything 118 scale. So Joy Toy is
Okay.
fun to mess with. They're fun
Yep.
to put bodies on and bucks on. I used a hacks, I believe a hacks for my Kylo, which I haven't shown off. I've only shown on like lives and things, but I've never actually. But I have like a Kylo, like so he
That
would
is
be the
so
mayor.
cool.
I still haven't painted the helmet. I want to do a white and gold helmet on him, which I've done before with some
Wow, that
browns. But yeah, you just add the browns and like the colors that we have here. He actually has twin daughters that are over here too, but I haven't shown them all off yet. But he also has a head sculpt. I don't know why the helmet one's on him. Must be because I'm about to paint it. I'm not sure.
yeah.
But he's in the area of stuff that needs to be painted. So, but yeah, the Vader I just did. He's very Amarak, I guess you could call it. Amarakian.
That Vader is incredible. That
Thank
Vader
you.
is awesome. I love that figure, and I think I commented on it, and I said just gorgeous. You know, I was speechless. I was speechless. Is that
Thank you.
within reach?
I think so.
Okay, you wouldn't mind, would you?
Yes.
Okay, there he is. Nice.
Oh boy. Okay.
This thing is
Sometimes
super cool.
his cape falls off and things get wild, but it's more like a shawl than a cape. But yeah, it's just a little wired, little gold and white. But yeah, I want him to be his own style, you know?
That is freaking awesome, man. I love it. I love the different colors, the white dome. It kind of really enhances the samurai look to him a little bit when the elements are different colors.
I had a samurai body for him when I first started. I was like, no, I'm gonna go with that. So I almost went that route. I had like a Joy Toy, like a very samurai looking, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go this way. But it was very close to that. That was almost the final. Like I had $2 sitting there, but this one had just that like that underneath, like that texture on that suit and stuff is very like Kylo Vader ish.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of pull that together. So yeah, man. I just I was like, what if Vader was dropped here? And he comes through the shove, and obviously he's, you know, been through the life that he's had. And he just shows you like, what's going on here? Like, hey man, you're Vader, and you're gonna run Barbados. You're gonna run the bar. And he's like, all right, like just give me a crew of people, and I'm good to go. So
that's great. So now I love the concept of what you call the shove. It's just like you go through a portal and you wind up in this world, right? Like that's
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
And that was off of a custom build for Whip Wednesday. So with Pirates and Rad, and I think Angus at the time, but they were doing a space portal like challenge. And I was like, oh, this could be fun, man. Like this could open it up for my world like a lot. So it really did. So
well, you know, you were the one who told me about the Pirates of the Galaxy weekly and monthly challenges and everything. And I follow along, and I'm blown away at the creativity that's there. So that's another great resource. It's incredible.
Yeah.
I haven't thrown my hat into the ring yet on it, only because I've got so many other things going on with my own channel.
Yeah, you get your own builds, man.
I commit to these things, you know, and then I get into it, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to the next one, and all right, I'll get to the next one, and you know how it goes. Here we are a year later, and you haven't done it.
No, there's a bunch of things where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to finish that. How long has that been? I'll go back and see like when I posted something, and it's like
right,
a couple years. Sometimes I'm like, wow, like the Dino Dairy. I think I started that. I never got to finishing it. It just kind of sat there. And then when people started making fun of it, I was like, all right, now we need to get it done. So, you know, people are having fun with it. And
well, you know, yeah. And I know how that goes, because, you know, all it takes is just a little hiccup, or maybe you can't find something that you were relying on to finish a project. Like right now in my own diorama series, I'm doing a swamp diorama, and you know, I got the first 5 or 6 parts done. Everything was going along great, and then I went to go get the water element, which is like a 2-part epoxy.
Yep.
I can't get it. The one brand that I like, I can't find it. It was finally shipped via Amazon about 3 days ago, but it was 2.5, 3 months. You know, and so
wow.
And it's funny because I try to pride myself on using household items, and I realized I'm going against my very mantra where I'm supposed to just use easy household things to make these things. And here I am getting hung up on an expensive product to finish something, which I don't really like to do, but sometimes you have no other choice. There's certain things you don't want to compromise on.
And like you said, there's a look and a style that you're going for. So it's, you know, I have that same, probably not the same epoxy, but it's not cheap. You don't want to mess it up either. It's tough to, you know, and like when we're talking about clear coats, you know, there's a certain clear coat that I use that wasn't readily available. Now you can get at any Hobby Lobby, but before I had to get it from certain, like I had to get it shipped. So,
Right.
so
Exactly.
you're always waiting on something to come in, to make something better.
So what that beautiful color palette that you use, the beiges, the pinks, the browns, the golds, and those maroon colors that seem to be in so much of your work. What brand of paint do you use? Because I have tried to replicate that, and I find that I either don't have the right shade or I have to mix it. So are those mixed
Yeah.
colors or are those right
Well,
out of the
last night I was doing some, but I was mixing last night, and I always try to use like something that's not. I know some people will use like cardboard and anything like that, but I like to use stuff that's like ceramic or plastic. That way, your paints don't dry.
right?
And there's also wet palettes out there, but I mix a lot. But like for this, there was no like Citadels or anything, but I do use a ton of Citadel. So a lot of
All right.
Citadel for my base coats. So
So
pretty much.
those beautiful blues and yellows and pinks that you use, those are actually custom blended by you, and you just kind of know what they are. Or
The yellows and the reds and the blues are actually all Citadel.
they're all okay,
But
yeah.
like when it comes to like the browns and like the tans and stuff, sometimes I can't get the exact color. So I'll use Apple Barrel. I'll use there's some stuff from Hobby Lobby. I think it's Master's Touch or something. I have a whole briefcase of like those, but the ones that I usually are readily like for me to reach are usually Citadel. So
Yep. I find, it's funny.
it goes a long way. I mean, it's a small bottle, but it does go a long way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And, but you're right, though. Like even the Apple Barrel, the 80-cent ones, 70-cent ones that you can buy like 3 for $1, those are still great. Like a lot of people think that you have to buy all this super expensive stuff to get great results, but you really don't. It's more about the technique than anything else.
Yeah, that and a lot of people water down their stuff. I usually put it on and then I'll possibly put some water on it. But my stuff's really thick, and I've always been there's been a lot of like just a lot of comments like, "Hey man, you need to thin out your paints." I'm like, "Yeah, but this is the way I'm doing it." So like,
right. Yeah,
because I'm about to add rust to it, so I'd like a little bit of texture in there too. So because a lot of the stuff like the clone tank, that's gonna be all rusted out. So at some point, and then you can use stuff like for weathering. Like I'll use paprika. So just your basic paprika will be like a good rust. Stuff, little tricks and stuff like that. A lot of Mod Podge and
it's
a lot
funny.
Of Mod Podge.
a lot of the people who gallons is right. A lot of the people who follow some of my tutorials and builds, I hit the spice rack all the time for my things because sometimes I think the best weathering agents that there are in your spice rack. They really do work great.
I didn't realize. I think I want to say it was Famine who was like, "Hey man, try using cinnamon." He was using cinnamon on something, and I was like,
"Yep."
And they were talking. It was like years because I've been following him forever, and then I don't know. That's how I got into the whole World Makers thing. Was like following him. I followed Rad, and I followed this guy. I saw him on Toy Domination, and I was like, "Oh, this is the best show ever." And then I didn't know we were gonna have like a spinoff of Toy Domination. Like,
well, man, yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I think that's really the fun of it. I think for me, I find so much more enjoyment out of taking a piece of trash and turning it into something than having to buy something expensive. The whole point is to make a world out of something that you would otherwise throw away. That's where I get the joy out of it.
Yes, totally. Like I love the Junkyard Dog. Like that's why like when people talk about like, and I am a fan of 3D printing now, but when it first started happening, I was like, man, that's not the same. Like you got to take this and make it out of that. But now I respect it because it helps out a lot. So
oh yeah. For sure.
It's great.
Yeah. I own a 3D printer myself and I definitely hit that print button, but I think a lot of times what people don't understand is, and of course there's a learning curve with everything, but even still, even if you're an experienced 3D printer, you're going to burn through some product because there's a lot of misprints. You can get a lot of misprints.
And I am a fan of those. So anybody watching, Rad will be like, here's a bunch of junk, man. He just hands me a whole, boxes of stuff. He's like, this stuff all didn't turn out. I was like, perfect, dude. I'm going to make it work. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember you did a lot of builds like that where you did take those pieces and make incredible. Like you did one that
Try,
just blew
yeah.
my mind. Yeah, it was awesome. And it was all cast off stuff. That's right. Yeah. So
Yeah, a lot of the stuff, yeah, and if it's something that, there's a lot of, like gum containers and stuff like that that still work for, like is it Mentos? I think they have like a really cool, like, and I think it works better for like 6-inch, but in my world, it doesn't matter. Like I can use it still.
right.
Like it can be a huge Zilla fuel tank. Who knows? Like it can be whatever. So,
Well, I've got, you know what? Now you've got a box of some hyperdrive misprints coming to you because
oh
I
boy.
just misprinted about 5 R5D4 heads. So
Oh wow.
they're perfect 4-inch scale for you. So
That's awesome.
yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. But yeah, man. So finally, the purpose of what I would like to do is in a couple of months, I would like to follow up with you on a project that you might be working on right now, or something that you plan, and then in a few months sort of follow up in part 2 and say like, oh, since the last time we talked, this is what I've got going on. Is there any project right now that you're working on that you'd like to share that we can sort of follow up on in a couple of months?
I can't show it because
Okay.
it's like in part of the world, but there's an area that Fat Red Food's doing a building for, and it's going to be like the last area of Amarak spot. Like I have no more space. Like it's
Okay.
done. Until my youngest moves out and I can go through the
Take
closets
over.
and make it all
Yeah.
wrap around. But
All
until
right.
that time, or outdoor stuff, which I think is also a great place to shoot. It's going to be an underground area, so there's going to be like gaming and like casino type atmosphere, like arcades and things like that,
Oh, that's
all
super.
ran by the Mandalorian. So we'll have the Mandos down there running stuff again. So it'll be
Oh, that
great.
sounds awesome. All right. So an underground sort of sub level to your city.
Yeah, there's going to be the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles. I need a place for them, so there might be some sewer activity, but also it's just going to be like the lower level. So I'm not sure
Okay.
what to call it yet. I usually don't know even when I'm shooting videos what I'm going to call it stuff until I actually go to post, and I'll be like, "Here's what it is." I think I don't
Same with
like.
me. Same with
Yeah,
me.
dude.
I, I just posted. Actually, it was Timbo, and he said I sent him a custom figure as a thank you for being on the show, and he said, "What do you call this one?" And I had never thought of it until he asked me, and I just came up with something in about 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, "That's his name,"
Yeah,
And
hey, as long as Rad isn't naming it, you're good, man. Like, because he
right,
has the worst names ever, bro. Like, I'm wearing his shirt right now. I love the guy, but
oh yeah.
he has horrible names, guys. I just want to put that out.
I really suffer. I suffer from that. Like for me, like I'll call it like uh resistance freedom fighter. Like that's his name. Like and
Yeah,
I don't know. I just that part of my brain, that creative part of like naming, like I named my sons Noah, Joe, and Luke. Like that's about as creative as I got. So yeah. But
that's great.
yeah, you know.
Mine are
So
crazy.
resistance freedom fighter number 7. There he is.
That's
So
not bad. I like doing that. So, like when I was doing the 112 scale bubblegum crew, they were just number 2, number 3, number 5. Like it
right.
just is, yeah. And then that's just how. And then I had one built but not painted, so I had to like skip a number. And then people were like, "Well, where's the other number?" I was like, "Well, he's this number. I can't change his number," which I definitely could have, but in my dumb brain, I'm like, I
Yes.
cannot change his number. Like he has to be Mandalorian. He was a Mandalorian, but he has to be bubblegum number 5. Like he has to be like.
I get it, man. No, it's so true. And you just sort of I feel like that's how in old time sci-fi from the 70s and 80s, when you looked at the credits, it was soldier number 7 or
Yeah.
evil guy number 19. You know what I mean? Like it
Yes.
wasn't a specific name. So yeah.
Yeah.
We're just keeping it true to the form.
Until they want to do a spin-off and do his lore and all that, and then it becomes
Right.
yeah.
Right,
So
exactly.
which I'm a fan of. So but yeah, I
Well, hey,
think the underworld, I guess, I don't know what we'll call it, but some type of we'll check into that. I should have it done by then, I think.
all right.
So
So all right. So in a couple of months, if you wouldn't mind, we'll do a follow-up video to the underworld section and we'll kind of see what's cooking down there. I'm really excited about that. Those are some
there
of my
will be
favorite.
stuff cooking
Yeah.
too.
All right. That underworld things and sewers, those are always they make for such great dioramas, man. So
Yeah. So
I
I
can't
mean,
wait to
the
continue
biggest
with that.
part like for the world building side of it is, I would say, patience. And like right now I have, like, I'm starting on the lighting, so that's where I usually start, and then we go from there. So
Okay.
the
Interesting.
base lighting and like the paint, like for the base, and then you can start. That's my way. It's not everyone's way. I know Rad, he throws up lights every 5 seconds, so
Right.
but
Yeah.
yeah, when a light burns out or something goes bad with the lights, it's devastating to the world. So
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. Yeah. Yeah.
mhm.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
man, you know what? I want to thank you so much. I'm trying to keep it at 30 minutes only because that's the sort of the
Yeah.
format we have to do. But I can't wait to follow up, man. And I want to thank you so much for coming on and doing this. You are a huge inspiration to my work and to many others. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you
Yeah, man.
so
When you first told me that, I was like, dude, I'm a fan of yours. What do you mean? So yeah.
Go on. No.
But yeah, and then like I said, Fridays World Makers Consortium, and then Thursdays Grown Ass Men Toys Collectors Corner. So that's where I'm at every week, and then I try to put stuff out weekly on my YouTube and daily for like reels and shorts if I can. But I'm falling a little bit behind because I'm working on stuff, so it's hard to be putting stuff out while you're working on stuff. But
Well, I'm sure that for people who follow me, I'm sure that you already know this guy. But if you don't, please, he's worth a like, a follow, a subscription. Like, do yourself a favor and check his work out.
Thank
It's
you, man.
awesome. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And with that, I really appreciate it. Thank you for the time. And we'll do it again in a couple of months. We'll follow up.
I'm excited, man. Hopefully it'll be done.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Take care. All right.